guys, welcome to another episode of One Pod Life. Well, what can I say about his next guest? So his name is Chris Foster and he is a disabled professional golfer. Now, I struggle playing golf with two legs, let alone having to learn how to play with one leg like my next guest. So hats off to him for pursuing this career. And he's literally just recently passed his PGA exams to become a qualified teaching professional as well, which is amazing, I think. So this one's really inspiring. I think it was really good to you guys to hear from a different perspective of golf, especially from disabled golf. So sit back and relax, listen to Chris Foster. Hi Chris, and welcome to the One Pod Life podcast. How you getting on, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Lloyd, yourself?
Not too bad. I hear you've gone back to work this week, started work again on Thursday, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Thursday. So I had pretty much 4 months to the day where I was furloughed, and then
Nice.
gone back. So today was my fourth shift back properly. So it's again getting used to a few new things.
Good stuff. So for those who don't know who Chris Foster is, could you just give me a quick one-liner and introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Chris Foster. I'm the first amputee PGA professional within the UK and, as far as I know, Europe.
Well, I didn't know that. That's good. That's a good intro.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll obviously get straight into it and start talking about the reason why you are an amputee, I guess. So obviously I don't want to go into too much detail if it's too sensitive for yourself, but it all started back when you was about 5 years old, is that correct?
Yeah, so when I was 5, I got diagnosed with a quite rare form of bone cancer. Got first diagnosed then, and then basically went through all the chemotherapy, a few operations and things, and then unfortunately came back again when I was 9. And that's when they basically decided that they were going to amputate. So, okay. I'm what's known as a through hip amputee. So basically, I've got no stump or anything like that. I'm literally just my pelvis, and that's it. So I've got no femur or anything like that.
Right. Okay. Which is quite rare, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. There's not, like these days. There's not many that don't have some sort of stump. So generally, you'll have somebody that is like above or below knee. So in terms of like a prosthetic and things, it's a lot not easier, but in terms of like maintaining the leg and having that sort of control is a little bit easier than myself, because it's literally like the hip joint is all made up, so I have to control it with sort of the way that I land it, and I'm having to physically move it myself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Not many people like it.
I can't imagine it's very comfy if you did have a sort of prosthetic leg to wear.
Yeah, the only way I can describe it is like sitting in a large bucket.
Right. Okay. That's quite an interesting analogy.
Yeah, okay. No, it is. Like I say, compared to like I say normal prosthetics. I mean, obviously, I'm now nearly 22 years an amputee. The technology has come on so far. Like you can now get computer chips in the knees, and there's different. One guy that I know has got a Bluetooth. There's an app on his phone where he can put it into different modes. It's incredible.
Oh, really?
It's really interesting, like how it's developed.
Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, no, it's. I don't actually wear one at all.
Well, that's it. I've noticed that. I've seen you around a few times, and you just use your crutches all the time. Which, if you've been doing it for 22 years, well, your arms must be pretty strong.
Yes, it's definitely one thing that I don't have to worry about in the gym is having to do too many upper body weights.
Good stuff. All right, so I guess, well, at the age of 5, I'm guessing, obviously. Yeah, having this bone cancer come into your life obviously hit you like a ton of bricks. I'm guessing even if you were 5 years old, it's sort of big thing to happen to you. What were your aspirations as a 5-year-old? What was you into or trying to sort of do or anything like that?
It's a bit strange, really. I mean, a lot of people say like it like hits you hard, but to be honest, it didn't in a way. Right. Just because. So I used to play a little bit of rugby when I was younger, did a few sports, but didn't do a huge amount. And one of the ways that we actually found out about it was I used to be able to keep up with a lot of the kids that I played rugby with.
Right.
And then suddenly I was a lot slower than them. And I got a little bit of pain in the leg, and that's how we sort of went down that road.
Right, okay.
So to have like the relief of not having that pain there, especially when I was like 9. So from 5 to 9, I was basically in and out of hospital quite a lot. And to have that relief of not having to worry about that anymore, and pretty much going into to lead a normal life as such, pain-free. And I kind of, I mean, I've got a very, very good family behind me and things. So I did take it sort of almost funnily, so that like as a 9-year-old, you don't really understand what's going to happen with the leg, etc.
No.
I was saying I was going to take it out and scare my friends with it.
Love it.
Yeah, it was one of those. I think I was quite lucky in the fact that I was diagnosed at that age. You're definitely a lot more resilient at that age. I've been through a lot of different sports and met a lot of other amputees that have lost their legs or arms or whatever it may be when they're older.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a lot more. I say, can you imagine going from
Well, I was just about to
22? Sorry, go on.
So I was about to say, I can't imagine being, well, I'm 37 now, having any part of my body, even if I lost a finger, I think it would be a massive hit and sort of drop in my life, because I don't quite know what to do about it, if I'm honest.
Definitely, and I think that's the big point is the fact that you go through your life for so long being able to do not having to adapt ways of doing things. When you're losing it, whether you're 5, 9, and anywhere sort of below you. I mean, I've been an amputee longer than I had 2 legs.
Yep,
so
it's crazy to think.
Yeah, definitely. I say I don't really know any different. So yeah, everything that I do, and a lot of people that I know don't even think of me as an amputee because of the fact that I get around pretty quickly, and I've done so many different things, and yeah, I don't really ask for help that much, to be honest.
No, well, like I said, you at such a young age, you got used to it and you adapted to it pretty quickly. So to you, it's just the norm. And obviously, like you said, people that have grown up around you, or friends and family, they see it as the norm now as well, and don't really take a second guess at it, really, do they?
No, not at all. I mean, there was a classic one last year, I think it was, and basically I was going out to do something. I just asked my dad to grab a trainer for me from the porch. Right. And so he comes in and he's baffled, and I've been looking for everywhere. I can only find one. I genuinely thought that he was joking, and I looked at him and I just said, "Dad, I only need one shoe." And he's going, "Oh, I know that."
That's hilarious.
It's just, yeah, it's generally like that. A lot of people just say, don't even think about it. Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
No, definitely.
I'm doing something right anyway.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Okay, so obviously, so your leg gets amputated when you're 9. Obviously, it took a little bit of recovery from that. I'm not sure how long that would take to actually recover from an amputation. Any ideas? Obviously,
I can't actually. All I remember, so I woke up after the operation. So the operation was quite long. I think it was close to 6 hours at the time.
Right,
so,
okay.
I mean, this is going back, obviously, 22 years ago. Medical science has gone forward a little bit.
No, definitely.
And apparently I woke up quite quickly after the anaesthetic and so been put out. And I was reading a dandy, sat upright, and all the nurses were a little bit worried because they weren't expecting me to get through it that quickly. Right. But yeah, no, then sort of rehab was pretty quick after that, to be fair, because where I'd sort of had to, I had weight bed on my right leg for quite some time. Yeah, because of different bits and pieces that had been going on. So I had to build up the strength in that again. So I reckon it was probably about a week or so. I was back into the physio in the hospital.
Okay, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you have to have the scar has to heal and things like that. But yeah, in terms of actually getting the strength back up, I was doing that pretty quickly, and then just went on from there. Really.
Great stuff. So, what sort of age was you when you got back into playing any type of sports or anything? I did read that you were quite a keen swimmer.
Yeah, so basically, when I was first told that I was going to lose the leg, I turned to my parents and said I wanted to go to the Paralympics.
Okay.
At the time, I couldn't swim. So as a 9-year-old, couldn't swim whatsoever. And I said I wanted to do it as a swimmer. And my parents obviously thought I was a little bit mad and didn't realise what it took to get to the Paralympics, etc. I'm pretty sure. I think I went. I was 10, maybe coming up to my 10th birthday. I turned up to beginner swimming classes at my local pool with a bunch of 5 and 6-year-olds. I'm double the height of all these people, and they're all much better swimmers than me. So then just went on from there, picked it up pretty quickly, joined Bishop Stortford Swimming Club.
Okay.
And started from the bottom there, and within, I think by the time I was 11, I did my first sort of disabled competition, and then pushed on from there and started representing. So I got onto the podium level of the GB team.
Fantastic, well done, mate.
It was really good. Unfortunately, didn't make Paralympics.
Okay.
In 2008, I got injured. So when I was 18, tore my rotator cuff, which as a swimmer was pretty much bye-bye swimming career.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it wasn't the best in the world. But so I did quite a lot of stuff in swimming, which I'm proud of. I was a national champion, and I had, I didn't qualify for the Paris, but I got injured just before Beijing.
I love that. I think that's great. So, sorry, I'm just going to touch on something quickly. So, from a mental side of things, obviously you're 11 years old. Did you ever think, I'm going to do this and I'm going to prove people wrong? Was it just I just want to do it sort of mentality? And did you get told by people you never going to be able to do this?
Yeah, I mean, so when I first started swimming, it was I want to do this, very much so. I wanted to do it for me, and I actually fell in love with swimming. Really enjoyed the fact that it's how much work you put in is what you're going to get out. So if I missed a training session, that was going to be detrimental to my performance. In terms of golf, that's very similar. It's about how much you work at your game is what you're going to see the benefits from.
Yeah.
And then as I went through my life, so actually when I was playing golf, I started getting people saying, "Oh, you're not going to do this," or you can't do that. And that's when it started becoming a little bit, I'm going to prove you wrong. I had a classic one. So when I was at Great Haddon Golf Club, I played in their scratch team.
Right.
And our match was up at Panshanger, and we were playing that. Turned up, and at the time I always had a buggy to play. And the guy that I was playing against, I was on the first tee ready, and he comes over and goes, "Oh, are you watching today?" And I said, "Oh, no, I'm playing." And he sort of looked at me and goes, "Oh, good for you. Like, it's really good that you're getting out there." Then I was and it wasn't in a way of like, "Oh, well done for it." It was quite a condescending way.
Okay.
And that sort of put my back up a little bit.
Well, of course it would.
And so I hit my first drive and carried his by about 30 yards, beat him 10 and 8, and he didn't actually speak to me.
Did he not?
He literally finished the rounds, put his clubs in the car and left. And from that moment on, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to let anyone put me down because I'm out here because of the way that I am.
Oh, of course not.
And I had a few people that said that I would never become a professional golfer. And again, that just spurred me on to really push on and
definitely
do what I've done.
Okay, so you've done your swimming career. You got to the heights that you didn't quite get to the highest height you wanted to within swimming, but you accomplished a lot, which was great.
Yeah.
So how did you get into golf?
So obviously, as I said, got injured in 2008, and I started just going up to the local driving range.
Okay.
With my dad and my brother. They sort of played a little bit. They didn't play loads, but they were just getting into it. Had a couple of lessons and things, and so I went up there just to hit the golf ball and just see what it was all about. And yeah, just kind of fell in love with it. Really, started having a couple of lessons with Paul, who was a great head at the time.
Yep.
And I think that was a bit of a shock to the system for him as well. I think.
Well, I bet, I'm not going to say not many coaches have had an amputee come through their doors and say, "I want to play golf."
Definitely not, and definitely not one that doesn't wear a prosthetic.
Yes.
So we started doing bits, and he really kicked me on and got me into golf, and turned out that I wasn't too bad at it. And yeah, just pushed on from there really. And as I said, with swimming sides, it was all about how much you put in. Yeah. So as a kid at that time, I say a kid, I was 18. I had obviously quite a lot of time to go and play in the summer holidays when I wasn't at school.
Yep.
And so I used to go up to Haddam and play a lot and practice a lot. And yeah, it was just got pretty good at it pretty quick.
Good stuff. But going back on to what you said about what you put into it is what you get, and I think that's the reason why I love golf. Yeah, it is all about me and how much I want to put into the game and how much I can get out of it. And the more I play and practice, the better I'm going to get. So I guess that was the same for you when you was sort of just started playing golf at 18.
Yeah, hugely. At the end of the day with golf, it's only you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. Technically, you could have the wrong information in terms of what you should be working on or something along those lines. But at the end of the day, it's whether you go out and put the work in. You actually go to the range on those rainy days, or in some cases it's raining and you haven't got an undercover base. You're standing in the rain hitting golf balls, and you know that's going to pay off in the long run. It's not, again, you don't see instant results. Nope. Same with swimming. You don't see that, I've done the session, brilliant, I'm going to be perfect at that next time. it just, unfortunately, does. Yeah, it doesn't happen. I mean, everyone says that. It's that age-old saying of if you go for a lesson, you're going to get worse before you get better.
Yep.
Which again, it's about you and whether you're going to stick to that plan and put it into practice.
No, good stuff. Okay, so you started going to have lessons and play when you were 18. You said you got down to sort of a pretty decent level. You was playing the scratch team for Great Haddam. At what point did you sort of realise, well, actually, I could probably become a professional golfer now?
So I left Haddam and went over to East Herts.
Yep.
And started playing there. So at the time I was about 7 or 8 handicapper.
Okay.
So it wasn't too bad, but certainly not the level that I wanted to be at.
No.
And Dan Field, who's now my golf coach, head pro at East Herts, sort of started talking to me and we started doing some bits. And I just decided that I loved the idea of being able to give my experiences in terms of being an amputee golfer, mm-hmm. and what I have to do to hit the golf ball and to hit certain shots. Because in terms of a normal able-bodied pro, it's very difficult to get into that mindset and how your body moves during the golf swing. So yeah, then I just kind of went, you know what, I want to try and do my PGA and start coaching and get more people into the game.
Okay, so obviously your first thought was not to actually be a playing pro, but be a teaching pro.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I really enjoy playing and competing, but I know that at the time I certainly didn't hit the ball long enough. And as brilliant as it will be, I think I accepted it pretty quickly that I probably wasn't going to be playing.
Right. Okay.
It has changed a little bit, probably over the last 6 months. I've been working pretty hard, not just on my golf side, but my fitness side as well. And I've got that competitiveness back in me, which is quite nice.
Which is good. Okay, we'll touch on that in a second, but we get back to the decision then to obviously become a teaching pro. So I know the process of how to become a playing pro, but what sort of process do you have to go through then to become a teaching pro? So is it the same sort of standard? You have to get down to a certain level and then you can go and do it, or is it completely different?
Yeah, no, pretty much that. So basically, I wanted to go down the PGA route. So there's a few different routes that you can go down in terms of your coaching. You can go and do your coaching certificates. You can specialise in certain aspects there. So quite a few sort of ex-tour players and things like that have gone down that road.
Yep.
But I decided I wanted to do my PGA. Okay. So entry requirements for that is you had to be a 4 handicap golfer. You have to have certain qualifications. So like I think it's a minimum of a C in English, maths and science, I think, for at GCSE level.
Right.
I'm
covered there. That's okay.
Yeah, you're all good there. I must admit, I was a little bit worried at one point, and then I managed to drag them out. I was like, no, I'm okay. And then so you get accepted onto the program, and then it's a 3-year foundation degree course.
Right, okay.
And that's the route that I took. So I've literally just finished all of my exams, all of that side. So I can now say that I'm a PGA professional.
Great, congratulations on that, man. That's amazing. So get down to some sort of numbers. How much does that cost, if you don't mind me asking?
So it's basically over the 3 years. So it's a 3-year course.
Yep.
It's $4,000 a year for that, but because it's a foundation course that is run by a university, so it's the University of Birmingham,
right,
you can get student loan for it and things like that.
I was going to say, that's like going to university prices.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It is exactly that. So
right, okay.
The reason I went down that route is with PGA, it basically covers all aspects. So over the 3 years, you learn not just the coaching side. You do business, sports science, club fitting. So you can go into pretty much any aspect of the golf industry.
Right, that's good.
Yeah, it's really good. So, I mean, something that really interested me was actually the club fitting. So
right.
If my coaching didn't work out and it wasn't sort of the line that I wanted to go down as I got more involved, that certainly was something that I was interested in falling back into and
fantastic.
Sort of specialise in whatever you like, really.
No, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to ask a bit of maybe a horrible question, but it might not be. But so obviously you're now associated at Hamry Manor Golf Club, and obviously you're teaching there, I'm guessing, aren't you? You're assistant. Yes. Yeah. So do you get much not backlash? That's the wrong word. Sort of. Obviously, someone turns up, says, "I want to be taught by you." Do they know about your situation before they come to see you, or is it they turn up and sometimes you've had some negative sort of comments and stuff?
It's a bit of a funny one, really, because I've never had any negative comments at all. I've had a couple of people that have sort of turned up and gone, "Oh, I've got a lesson booked today. It's with Chris," and then I go, "Oh yeah, that's me," and then they're a little bit, "Oh, okay then," sort of thing. And I think it's probably the modern age that we live in, where people luckily don't sort of jump to conclusions in terms of your ability because you're disabled. It's definitely changed, I think, probably since London 2012 with the Paralympics there. The amount of people that went to that and saw what disabled people can actually do. Mm-hmm. So never had any sort of really bad feedback.
Good.
But it is something that I'm always a bit anxious about, especially if they're booked over the phone or it's.
No, it wasn't like I was. I was hoping that the answer would be no, because I'd like to think that people wouldn't care who you are as long as you're giving them the right information and they're seeing results. It doesn't matter what type of person you are exactly. So I'm glad that that's the story.
Yeah, no, definitely. I say, as I said, I think people's perceptions of disabled people have definitely changed. And again, going back to like the PGA, to have that accreditation to your name as well, I think it shows that you've obviously gone through what you've needed to qualify for that. So it's like that seal of approval sort of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely, that's good stuff. Okay, so we'll go back to your playing career then. Like you said, the last sort of 6 months, you've got your I guess mojo back into getting into competitive golf. So has it just been the last 6 months? Have you played before and done well, and what was the reason why you stopped doing competitive golf?
So basically, you still have to play while you're doing the PGA.
Okay.
You have to do 21 events. 21 events over the 3 years.
Right. Okay.
I started out going and saying, right, I'm going to play in this, I'm going to play in this, and I want to do well in them. Mm-hmm. And I put quite a bit of pressure on myself to play well.
Okay.
And I quickly realised that I certainly wasn't practicing and being able to play as much as I could before I started my PGA.
Right.
Just because you've got all of the work in terms of your coursework, preparing for exams. You're still working a full-time job because you have to work in a pro shop or within the golf industry. And yeah, I had some really bad rounds, and that frustrated me a lot. Probably over like the 3 years, that got me down quite a bit.
Okay. And do these rounds go towards your degree? In your results?
Yeah, so basically, over those 21 events, you have to shoot, I think it's 6 rounds that is within 6 over.
Right.
So, I mean, as a 4 handicapper, you should be doing, within 21 events, you should probably be doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just a requirement because the PGA still want you to be able to play the game.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So once you've got the accreditation and things, then it's up to you what you do. But for those 3 years, you've got to be able to prove that you can still play. So yeah, it frustrated me a little bit. I got quite annoyed with it, and I didn't give up as such. I kind of just put it on the back burner and went, you know what? I'm not practicing. I'm not playing much. I'm just going to turn up and enjoy myself.
Okay.
So I like all the guys on the East region I know pretty well, and you get to know each other, like especially the assistants over the 3 years, and we're all sort of a good bunch of lads. So it was good fun to still do. It was a bit crazy over lockdown, actually. I was watching The Big Break that they used to do on the Golf Channel.
Yeah.
I was watching all the old ones of those, and they were hitting these shots, and there was a couple of people on there that were really good, and there was a couple that weren't great, and they were trying to make it as players.
Okay. And
I went, you know what? I've got this time now to work on some bits that I wanted to work on. I can do some stuff in my house. I can, and the fitness side was huge for me.
Yeah.
So I went, right, it's time to knuckle down and see what I can do. So I made the decision that I was going to see kind of what happens over the next few months and enter a few events and go from there.
Oh, good stuff. Good man. So have you played one yet, or are you still waiting for the first one to come up?
So I did a little pro-am, trying to think when it was probably a couple of weeks ago, and I played okay in it. Yeah, it wasn't anything sort of majorly serious. So sort of just to see what my game was like, and it was definitely better than what it was before. The stuff that I'm working on is obviously working quite well. It's a little bit more consistent. So I used to rely on my hands to square the club face up quite a lot. And from a consistency point of view, that's very, very difficult to do, no matter how good your hands are. So I'm trying to hit the ball a little bit more with my body as such.
Okay.
It's been good. So I've just entered like a PGA East region event, which is at the beginning of September.
Good stuff.
And I was hoping to play a few events on the Edgar Tour, which is the European Disabled Golf Association.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of those being cancelled just because obviously due to COVID and things.
Yeah, of course, that's slightly annoying.
Yeah, a little bit annoying.
so Edgar, I've only really sort of seen Edgar the last couple of days, actually. It's crazy, really. Is that kind of like the main sort of tour for disabled golfers, or is there other ones that are out there?
Yeah, no, it's definitely the main one. So basically, what they're like a governing body as such, and they oversee different tournaments that are run around different countries. So anyone can actually host an event. So, like, for example, I could go, right, I want to run an event, and I set it up and just talk to Edgar, and they'll give me the sort of the backing to do it. So they've been around for a number of years. I used to play them when I was an amateur.
Right.
And did fairly well in them. I was sort of in the top categories with that. Won a couple, which was quite nice. And then when I turned pro, it wasn't seen. It was more of an amateur thing. It wasn't seen as pros playing in it, because you couldn't win money. There was no prize funds or such to it. So I didn't play it for a few years, and then more and more have started turning pro now and trying to play. So they've allowed that to happen, and it's just grown and grown. So now there's a world's rankings list for golfers with disabilities.
Right, okay.
And the European.
And where do you sit on that list?
I haven't actually, since that's been introduced, I haven't actually played it.
Oh, have you not? Okay.
I haven't currently got a ranking, which is everyone always asks me that question.
Well, I think that's your next aim, Chris. That's your next target, is to get a world ranking.
Definitely, I say it's something that I just want to try and see how high I can get with it. And,
no, mate, why not? It's reach for the stars. You know what I mean? Go for it.
Yeah. And it's been great over the last sort of 12 months. European Tour have got involved with us as well.
Good.
So there's been a couple of events. There was one at the Scottish Open, and also in Abu Dhabi, I think it was, or Dubai. They had a disability tournament running alongside the pros, which was a really good experience for those that got to play in it. And that, again, made me want to play.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like you said off air, golf is in a good place, and where people are getting really involved with it. Like you said, there's been a massive uptake since obviously coming out of lockdown, which is fantastic for golf clubs and golf in general. So any more events and any more sort of big name tournaments can get involved with, especially more into disabled golf, then bring it on. You know what I mean? It'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's, I say since lockdown, obviously, memberships have started to rise. I think there was a stat that I saw the other day that golf rounds in the month of June was something like 2,000% up on the previous year, which is crazy to think.
It's crazy.
But yeah, no, it's great for golf, and people are starting to see what a great game it is.
No, great. Well, Chris, I think that's a great insight into yourself, and I think anyone listening can appreciate even more the things you've achieved with the swimming, and obviously doing your PGA for your golf and becoming a teacher, and now obviously trying to make it as a playing professional as well. So I think my hat's off to you, mate. I think it's been a great journey, and I congratulate you on doing so.
Excellent, thank you. Hopefully the journey hasn't ended yet.
We've got those world ranking points to get.
Exactly, and I think that's the great thing about golf as well, is the journey never really ends with it.
Exactly, there is no ceiling until you become world number one, I guess. But even then, there's still no ceiling. So,
yeah, exactly. I think you look at Tiger. I mean, even when he was world number one, he was still changing his swing to get better. And you're thinking, how does that happen?
Crazy, man. But no, good stuff. Okay, well, let's move on to the tip section of the podcast. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, you're at a level where you're pretty good. You're a professional golfer. Yeah. There are a lot of aspiring golfers out there, like myself, who are trying to get down to sort of your level, for a handicap, for example. What 3 tips would you give those people to actually achieve that level of golf?
I reckon probably the 2 things probably 3 things that I really used to get my handicap from that sort of 7, 8, sort of 6 and lower, or to get it lower, was 1, make a plan. So whether it's what you want to work on, or whether it's you're going out for a tournament and you want to plan for that tournament. So how are you going to get it around the golf course that you're playing at? If it's your home club, I think if it's your home club, sometimes a lot of people fall into that aspect of, I know where I'm going to hit the ball. I know where the misses are.
Yep.
And they don't follow a plan. They just go in it thinking, I know this course inside out.
Okay.
Still stick to a plan, because that gets your thought process in line with everything. You're not going, should I do this? Should I do that? So I think that's one thing.
Yep.
2 is definitely practice with a purpose. I've seen quite a few of your videos, and obviously, drills. So you go in there and you're working on something specific.
Yep.
Too many people go to a range and say, I'm going to sort of just hit balls, and I hit 100 balls yesterday.
Yeah.
That's great, but I'd rather see people hit 50 balls and it's at something, and aim for it.
And don't get me wrong, I fell into that old trap of just getting 100 balls out of the machine, just hit 100 balls, and I'm not leaving until I've hit all those golf balls, which is not good for your game. It's not good for your mentality either, because you get to about 70 balls, you're tired. Well, I've got over 30 balls to hit now. I'm going to hit them all bad, and I'm going to go home with a bad mentality. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it also, in terms of if you've had a lesson and all you're doing is going away and just hitting golf balls, you're just practicing bad habits that you may have in your game already.
No, definitely.
And it's just that lesson might not, you pretty much shouldn't have done it, because you're not actually practicing what you've just done.
No.
And yeah, it's one of those where if you have a purpose, you have drills. I say to a lot of my lessons that I want them to warm up, and then pretty much I would say 75% of the balls that they're hitting are drills.
Okay.
And then 25% will be either like going into full swing and working it out, or having a bit of fun on the range, so hitting different shots. I think that's key as well, is having a bit of fun on the range, trying to hit 50-yard hooks and 40-yard slices, and just working out how to hit these shots, because at some stage you will need to hit that shot.
No, definitely.
It's something to help you. And
Good
then I reckon final tip would be short game. Literally from 60 yards and in. Just practice. It's the one thing that I would say in terms of my golf game that's improved the most over probably the last 4 years is my short game. I don't feel, in terms of my putting, I don't feel like I'm going to miss much, pretty much from 8 foot and in. I feel like I'm going to hold everything, which is a great place to be in. And then I feel like I can pretty much make up and down from anywhere. It's always nice to have that confidence, but just playing around with things. So if you're on a chipping green, not just sort of your landing areas, but in terms of changing the flight of like chip shots, playing with different clubs, understanding how they react on the green. So understanding if you hit a 54 degree or a sand wedge or something, how that reacts compared to hitting a pitching wedge. And definitely seeing that, and then just work on your creativity, have a bit of fun on the pitching green and your chipping stone.
Well, the third tip's really part of my game at the moment. So my last couple of posts have actually been about chipping in and around the green, because I've found that I can get to, tee to green. Tee's getting better, but my strong game is my iron, so I'll always get back on near enough to the green or on the green. But if if I'm just short, my short game just goes out the window and it kills me. So it's now something that I'm really working on. So I found a weakness in my game, so I've got to work on that and not hit irons on the range for 3 hours, because that's not going to help me.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that goes into that practicing with a purpose. So, that it's great to go on the range and keep things ticking over. But if you're really struggling with your short game, like spending just 2 hours chipping and putting and things like that's great.
What did it for me is I played around a few weeks ago, and I was reaching par fives, just short in 2. And I'm thinking, hello, I've got birdie chances here. And I'm walking away with pars and bogeys, and I'm like, what is going on? And then, so that's when I started looking at my games and well, that's a weak part of my game, so I need to work on that.
Definitely. I think it's a lot of people think that you've got to drive it and hit your irons great, but at the end of the day, you can drive it and keep it in play. Your irons can be there or thereabouts, but if your short game's really good, you're still going to be up there.
And that's why they call them scoring clubs, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I use something called Golf Data Lab, and it's basically what you use to keep all your stats, and the stuff that goes in, like details that goes into, is incredible.
That's Stat Golf Lab.
Sorry?
That's Stat Golf Lab.
It's Golf Data Lab. It's called, GDL. So it goes into, I mean, the tour version goes into strokes gained, putting, strokes gained, approaches to green, but it will also go into like proximity of the hole with each club. It's really, really good. So you can, like, one of my weaknesses, I used to be closer with an 8-iron than I was with a wedge.
Okay.
So an 80-yard shot, I would hit to, say, 15 foot. But when I stood there with an 8 or a 7-iron, I was hitting it to 10 foot. And that's just silly. I mean, from my point of view, from 80 yards, you should be sticking it to, I say, at least 8 foot, like a 10% rule to an extent.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, your scoring will come down quite dramatically.
And I guess looking at things like you said, you start to find not weaknesses, but things you need to improve on that will give you that extra edge to get the score down.
Yeah, definitely. I said the stats these days are really good, and it just proves. I mean, my golf coach always used to say that I didn't hit enough greens. Well, it turned out that it was actually from inside 100 yards that I wasn't hitting greens. Everything else I was pretty good. So my irons were from 130 yards and up were pretty good. But yeah, I was standing there from 60 yards and missing greens. Which is trying to become a professional golfer, and you're like, no, I definitely need to sort this out quickly.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for those 3 tips. I think they're really good. I said all 3 of those are things I'm working on at the moment. So I think anyone else can listen. Hopefully they can take those on board and turn them into their game. So it'd be good.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's if you stick to those, you'll see your scores coming down pretty quick.
No, great stuff. Well, Chris, thanks for giving me your time and telling us about your life and how you've gone through a pretty traumatic experience, I would say.
It wasn't too bad.
It turned into positive. And yeah, you're cracking on. You're making headways within the golf industry, and hopefully we start seeing you, like I said, with those world ranking points, and see you be the best disabled golfer out there.
Hopefully, we can only hope. I say that. And next 12 months they're going to be pretty big, I think.
Yeah, no, I'll be keeping tabs on you. Don't worry about that.
Good to hear.
No, good stuff. All right, mate. Thanks for coming on, and speak to you again soon.
Excellent. Cheers, lad.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Cheers, bye.
Wow, what an inspiring story that was by Chris Foster. Now, like I said, it's not easy playing golf when you've got to do it with one leg as well. Wow, what an achievement that is. And I love his attitude. He doesn't care. You can see, obviously, he lost his leg when he was a kid, but he didn't let it stop him. He carried on, kept pushing. I mean, also with the swimming, who would have thought becoming a Paralympic swimmer? Didn't quite make the Olympics, but hey, he pushed himself and he achieved what he wanted to achieve. And I guess it just goes to show that no matter what condition you've got or disability, nothing can stop you from achieving your goals. And like I said before, I'll say it again, hats off to him. I don't know what would happen if I lost a leg, or like I said, even in the conversation, if I lost a finger. I don't know how that would impact my life, but I think I'd find it pretty hard. And I just love his attitude. So yeah, if you can take anything from this podcast, is no matter what you are, who you are, what you do, you can achieve your dreams. So go out there and get them. So thank you very much for listening, guys, and speak to you again soon.